Trail Riders. Rick back here with a small little project. Oh my god, look at this hair. I need a haircut. I installed, I think you guys saw in the last update, I installed some USB cameras in the train room. And there's a total of 3 cameras, and when I first put them in there, I ran into an issue where one of them was kind of flaking out, and originally I thought it might have been the camera itself. So just to give you a quick little overview from my computer that's sitting down here next to me, there are 2 15-foot USB cables, extenders, going daisy-chained one after the other into the train room. And then that goes into a powered USB hub that's in the ceiling. That USB hub has 7 ports to it. So they're basically 30 feet from here to there. It's not using all 30 feet. Just so happens that the cables are 15 foot long. So that's going into the ceiling. And then right up there in the ceiling, there is an outlet where the USB hub is plugged into. In theory, that should mean that any USB device that's plugged into that USB hub should get its power from the hub and not from the computer. So, I plugged in all 3 cameras. 2 of them are working fine. One of them is kind of flaking out where it gets all digital. And then when I'm following a train, the train will be on this side, and then all of a sudden it'll jump and it's over that side, and it was weird. So at first I thought maybe it was the port that it was plugged into, so I tried switching around the port in the hub, and that wasn't working. And then I got to thinking, well, maybe the hub is not supplying enough power. So I got 2 more extension cables, and I plugged one of those cameras just for testing. I ran it through the door here and plugged it into the computer, and lo and behold, it worked, and it worked fine. So now I'm thinking there's a power loss there. That power hub is not sufficient enough to do 3 cameras. So then I got to thinking, and I remembered way back, like a couple projects ago, I made this little buck converter that uses a USB port to plug to power one of my IP cameras. And this USB plug is basically it's got a black little cap that holds this thing, and it's just a female plug. It's the plug without its case. And if you notice here, there's I just used an orange and kind of an orange-white wire here. The orange one is plugged into this, we'll say, top side for your information. Yeah, all right. So if you notice on this USB plug, there is a line here where the ground shield connects. Over here on the opposite side, there is no line. Very, very important, because this is polarity driven. So I'm not going to say this is for every plug. If you decide to go out and do this, don't take my word for it. You definitely need to test it. But for my purposes, where that line is, my positive is on my right, your left, I think. Anyway, so that's how that works. So I got to thinking, all right, here's a standard USB plug. It's got the big plug on the back end, and it just so happens that this was a phone plug. But this one's broken. It doesn't charge anything anymore. So I got to thinking, well, I know in the end of this cable there are 4 wires. There's a red and a black, which are obviously power and ground, positive and negative. And there is a white and a green, which I know are data. Now, I'm not 100% sure. I have to do some testing. I don't know where the white and the green go on here. I'm going to have to consult the gurus over at Google Images to try and find out. But I got to thinking, well, if I just took 2 cables, now these are 2 totally different style cables. This one's a little thicker. It probably has some more shielding in it. This one's a really thin cable, but they all have 4 wires in it. So I thought to myself, well, I wonder if I took this cable and I soldered the green and the white in here to the center, so I had data, and then I took this cable and cut it off and soldered the black and red to the ends there, then I could separate power and data. So then if I took this cable or the end of this cable and I plugged it into the computer, I should be able to get data from the computer. And then if I took one of these, the other end of this one, and plugged it into a power adapter, and then just plug that into an outlet, I should be able to get power through there to power whatever comes out of that. So if I plug my camera, USB camera in there, then I should be able to get adequate power to the camera and data back to the computer. It sounds awesome in theory, right? So I got to thinking to myself, well, that's a lot of work. It's a lot of soldering. That's very small wires, and I really don't know if the technology is right. I'm not sure which pin to actually solder those cables onto. So I went to our all-time favorite shop and I looked on Amazon for something that might be similar, and sure enough, don't you know they already make one? So for what I was going to spend in doing all of that work, they already make one, and it was only $5. So I picked up 3 or 4 of them, I think, something like that. And you notice on one of these plugs, actually I'm not sure if you could tell, but one of them is thicker than the other, and one of them has this little red tag on it. So I know the one with the little red tag is the one that supplies power. So this is the one that's going to go into that little adapter and go into the power port or power plug. This one is going to go into the USB hub. I'm going to disconnect the power off the hub so it has no power to the hub. And then this is what the camera is going to get plugged into. So bada bing, bada boom. Let me get you into the train room and I'll get all that set up and we'll test it out and see how it works. We'll be back. All right, so here we are in my train room. Actually, you can see there's a camera right there. And the other 2 cameras are one there. And the other is up there. I'm not sure if you can see it. There's little glowing lights right there. That's it. So those 3 are the cameras. And then you'll notice up here in the ceiling, this here is the powered USB hub that we're going to play with. This is all going to get mounted. Here's the surge protector right now that everything is plugged into. So that's got to get mounted to the joist. Quick little tip. These surge protectors, or at least most of them, have those little keyholes on them where you can slide them onto nails or screws in your ceiling or wherever. Quick little note, if you ever have to hang one, throw some tape on the back of it, mark off where those holes are, and then you can just rip off the tape and put that wherever you want and then drill your holes, because that's where you know your holes are. So quick little tipster from the Rickster. So let me go and get all this stuff mounted up and plugged in, and I'll come back and show you how it all worked out. If it all worked out. All right, here's how it looks. Over there, you can't see it, but up under there is where the hole is. That goes through the drop ceiling down to the computer. So there is a USB cable here that I have to tie up. Right now it's just kind of hanging loose. That's going over here into the back of the hub. That is the connection to the computer. And as you can see, the light is green. Now we got 3 cameras right there, all plugged into their respective splitters. There's one there, there's one there, and there's one there. The other side of those splitters are going into these 3 power cords. So all 3 of those cameras should have power and should be on. let's go to the computer and check. Well, sometimes you win them, sometimes you lose them. In this case, I lost. My theory is a bust. Let me show you what's going on. So, as you saw from the last video, I've got all 3 cameras plugged into the hub, and all 3 are getting their power from somewhere else. So, in theory, that should be suffice to make them work. They're not. Let me get you over to the camera view. Alright, here you can see all 3 of those cameras. Now if you take notice to the one that's right below me, you notice that the video is choppy. You can see pixels popping up here and there. It's not really clear, it's fuzzy. Take a look at your bottom left hand corner. There's a CSX locomotive down there. I'm going to just start him up real quick and you'll see what I'm talking about. See how he's kind of jumping around? It actually gets worse at times. I'm going to throw him in reverse. It's like when the video, I don't even know how to describe it. When I brought him around this curve the first time, he was jumping like crazy. There you go. See him as he came out of that tunnel? Dude, that's weird. So when he comes around that turn and goes to go back across Switch Junction, now you'll notice right over here towards the bottom, you'll see him start to come through there. Now that picture is a little jumpy, but it's not like what you're seeing directly below me. Let me stop him. I'll change his direction. And you can see that's jumpy over there, but it's certainly jumpy right there. Okay, I am going to pause the video here, and I'm going to go switch the cables back so that that one camera is plugged directly into the computer and not into that hub, and wait till you see the difference. Okay, so now we're all set back up. The 2 cameras that are over on your right, they're both hooked into the hub that's in the ceiling. The one that's directly below you, or below me, is plugged directly into the PC. So now if I take that same locomotive that you can see over there in Switch Junction there, I'm going to start him up and see how easily, no jumpiness, no camera shake. Now, it's very weird because if you notice, these cameras over here seem to be a better quality camera than the one below me. But believe it or not, these are all 3 the same identical cameras. And see, there's no choppiness there, flows through. But this one seems like it's a lower quality, but they're all the same make and manufacture. And before someone puts something in the comments, yes, you can do that. It has nothing to do with how they function on the computer because they all get their own hardware ID. So this guy's going to go up here. He's going to go over the cavern. It's going to go to the right. And then you should see him come up on the bottom of your screen over on that side all the way down there as he passes under the bridge and then goes around that other train, and then he'll travel up and around. So what did I learn? I'm not even sure what I learned, because I still don't know that this is a power issue. It might just be too much data going through one USB cable. I'm not sure, but we're here to learn, we're here to teach. This is a lesson learned, and I hope I taught you something. So my theory didn't work. I'm hoping I could use these cables somewhere else to do something else. Who knows? But yeah, right now it's a bust and a waste of money. So, but we'll see. Until next time, let's ride these rails together. I'll see you, rail riders.